The cops shout, "Get out of the truck now, hands where we can see." She obeys calmly, but when one of them sees the tattoo on her wrist, the blood freezes in her veins. A simple brand that would change everything in seconds. Maya Rodriguez drove her truck on the roads 15 years ago, knowing every dangerous curve and every control post. At 42, his dark skin and grey hair told stories of long journeys under the scorching sun. That Tuesday morning, she transported medical equipment to hospitals in the region, a valuable load that required rigorous documentation. If you are enjoying this story, leave your like and subscribe to the channel. Also, comment on which city you are watching, and write the word justice if you believe everyone deserves to be treated with respect, regardless of appearance. The problem began when Maya was stopped at a routine blitz. 3 armed police surrounded his truck, with disproportionate aggressiveness, treating her as a dangerous criminal even before checking her documents. What they didn't know was that Maya carried more than goods on her truck. She kept a secret that could turn that humiliating approach into an unforgettable lesson. The tension grew when the police began to violently review their cabin, spreading their personal belongings on the asphalt. Maya remained calm, observing each movement, every disrespectful word. She knew that that moment would test not only her patience, but would also reveal the true character of those men of uniform. Would the truth about Maya's identity be enough to completely change that situation? What would happen when they found out who was really before them? The state road cut a region known for the high rates of smuggling, where honest truckers often faced truculent approaches. Maya knew that excerpt well, had worked in that area for years, both as a driver and in her other profession, which she had carefully hidden. Officer Santos, the operations leader, was a middle-aged man with a history of controversial approaches. His 2 subordinates, Martinez and Silva, followed their orders without question, perpetuating a cycle of institutionalized prejudice. Santos looked at Maya with evident contempt, seeing just another suspicion to intimidate. Maya watched every detail, the way Santos commanded her men, the inappropriate procedures they used, the clear violation of basic protocols. Her professional experience made her immediately identify irregularities in the approach, but she remained silent, mentally collecting every evidence. Maya's truck was impeccably organized, with all documents in order and the load properly sealed. She had detailed records of each trip, knew the traffic laws perfectly, and always strictly met the compulsory rest deadlines. His reputation among the dispatchers was impeccable. During the abusive magazine, Santos found a small case locked under the bank. "What's up here?" he asked with a threatening tone. Maya answered calmly, "Personal documents and some objects of sentimental value." Tension increased when Santos insisted on opening the briefcase, ignoring the basic rights of privacy. What Santos did not realize was that every action of his was being mentally catalogued by someone who deeply understood correct police procedures. Maya knew exactly which lines were being crossed and which consequences those men would face soon. The situation climbed when Santos ordered Maya to lean against the truck for a personal magazine. "You are resisting authority," he lied blatantly, even with Maya fully cooperating. Martinez filmed the action with his personal cell phone, laughing at the public humiliation they were causing. Maya kept her hands visible and followed each command, but her mind worked quickly. It recognized the pattern: psychological intimidation, excessive use of strength, disrespect for standard procedures. Santos was clearly abusing his power, transforming a simple verification of documents into a show of authoritarianism. "This load seems very valuable to a simple trucker," said Silva, hinting criminal activities without any evidence. They began to aggressively question their income, cargo destination, and personal history, completely surpassing the limits of a routine approach. The critical point arrived when Santos decided to call reinforcements, claiming Maya's suspicious behavior. She knew this was a tactic to prolong humiliation and possibly plant false evidence. Other drivers started to stop to watch the scene, some recording with their phones. Maya realized that Santos was nervous about growing public attention. He ordered the onlookers to move away, but several drivers knew Maya and were strange to the treatment she was receiving. "She is one of the most honest on the road," commented a veteran trucker. Tension reached the apex when Santos threatened to arrest Maya for contempt to authority, even though she did not say a disrespectful word. Martinez and Silva seemed uncomfortable with the escalation of the situation, but had no courage to confront their superior. It was at this moment that Maya made a crucial decision. She asked calmly, "Can I take my wallet from the briefcase? I need to show something important." Santos, confident that he had broken her spirit, agreed with a sarcastic smile. Maya slowly opened the briefcase, revealing organized documents and some personal effects. At the bottom, there was a discreet leather wallet. When she opened her, Santos first saw a familiar photo, but that's what was next to the photo that made her world collapse instantly. While Maya carefully handled her wallet, the drivers who stopped to watch began to form a small group. Among them was Roberto, a road veteran who had known Maya for over 10 years. He knew something was very wrong with that approach. Roberto discreetly called his dispatcher, reporting the situation. The news spread rapidly through the truckers' communication network, reaching the ears of influential people in the transportation sector. Some had connections with higher authorities and started making calls. Martinez, the youngest policeman, began questioning Santos's methods internally. It was his first week on the team, and that approach seemed excessively aggressive for a routine check. He noticed that Maya did not show the typical signs of nervousness of criminals. On the contrary, she looked strangely calm and controlled. Silva, in turn, recognized one of the observing truckers as his neighborhood neighbor. The man stared at him with disapproval, making Silva realize that this situation could have repercussions on his personal life. The local community was small, and police abuse news spread quickly. Santos, absorbed in his demonstration of power, did not realize that he was being filmed by multiple angles. In addition to the curious cell phones, a near gas station security camera captured the entire scene. The manager of the post, concerned about the situation, had already triggered his monitoring center. Temporal pressure increased. Maya had a strict deadline to deliver medical equipment, and every minute of delay could affect urgent treatments in hospitals. She knew she needed to solve that situation quickly, but so that she had as much educational impact as possible. Maya slowly removed an official document from her wallet, keeping him down. "Official Santos," she said for the first time using his name, which was clearly visible in his identification. "Before showing this, I want you to know that everything that happened here was recorded and will be reported in detail." Santos laughed sarcastically. "Are you threatening me now? This only worsens your situation." He signaled Martinez to approach the handcuffs, confident that he had completely broken Maya's resistance. It was then that Maya became the document, revealing an official identification that made the blood of saints freeze instantly. It was a credential of the route, ostensive rounds Tobias de Aguiar, with his photo and the post of regional commander. Maya Rodriguez was not just a trucker. She was one of the most respected elite force commanders, working in disguise in a special operation to combat smuggling. "Commander Maya Rodriguez, a special division route," she said calmly, observing the clash expressions on the faces of the 3 police officers. "I have been in operation for 6 months, investigating smuggling routes in this region. You have just compromised a federal operation." Santos tried to stutter an explanation, but Maya continued. "Official Santos, in 15 years of career, rarely witnessed such a flagrant violation of basic procedures: disproportionate approach, illegal magazine, psychological intimidation, and possible planting of evidence." Martinez let the handcuffs fall to the ground, realizing the magnitude of the mistake they had made. Silva retreated instinctively, as if he wanted to disappear from the situation. Observing truckers began to murmur with each other, some recognizing the severity of the moment. Maya kept her identification calmly and looked straight into Santos's eyes. "Now, official, let's discuss how to proceed from here. You have 2 options. We can solve it in an educational way, or I can make an official report that will reach the Corregidoria in 1 hour." The silence that followed was deafening, broken only by the distant sound of traffic on the road. The silence was broken by the sound of Santos' radio crackling with an urgent message. "Unit 47, answer immediately. We have a connection of the internal operation on an ongoing operation in its location." The voice of the dispatcher sounded tense, and Santos realized that the situation had completely escaped his control. Martinez was the first to react, immediately removing the cap and assuming a respectful stance. "Commander, we didn't know. I apologize for the inappropriate procedure." His voice was visibly shaking, and sweat began to form on his forehead despite the mild climate. Silva discreetly tried to keep his cell phone, where he had recorded part of the approach to his social networks. Maya noticed the movement and stretched her hand calmly. Official Silva. I need to give me this device. The recorded material is part of the evidence of this operation. Santos, realizing that his career was on a thread, tried a last, desperate card. Commander, we were just following security protocols. This is an area known for suspicious activities. His voice sounded weak and unconvincing, even to himself. Maya watched the three men with the experience of those who had already trained hundreds of police. Security protocols do not include public humiliation, illegal magazine without warrant, or psychological intimidation. You have turned a routine verification into abuse of authority. Observing truckers began to approach, some offering as witnesses. Roberto said, Commander, I have known Maya for years. She is one of the full people of the road. What these police did was completely disproportionate. Radio crackled again. Unit 47, the captain is on his way to his location. Keep the situation under control until his arrival. Maya took control of the situation with the natural authority of those who commanded complex operations. Officers, let's use this moment as a learning opportunity. Martinez, you seem to be the youngest on the team. What did you learn from this situation? Martinez swallowed hard before answering, that we should not judge people by appearance, Commander, and what procedures exist to protect both citizens and ourselves. His honesty contrasted with the silent despair of Santos. Correct, Maya nodded. Silva, you filmed part of the approach. When reviewing the material, what do you identify as main errors? Silva hesitated but replied, we did not follow the appropriate identification protocols. We made prejudice-based assumptions, and we climbed the situation unnecessarily. Maya then went to Santos, who remained silent. Official Santos, in 15 years commanding operations, learned that the true power of authority is to protect and serve, not to intimidate. His experience should have better guided his subordinates. Roberto and the other truckers observed, impressed with how Maya turned a confrontation situation into an educational lesson. She showed that true leadership meant elevating others, even in times of tension. Now, Maya continued, let's wait for the captain to arrive. We'll use this incident to create a training protocol that avoids future similar situations. Martinez is Silva. You will voluntarily participate in an awareness program on respectful approaches. The sound of sirens in the distance indicated the arrival of reinforcements. Maya mentally organized how it would present the situation constructively, turning a moment of crisis into an opportunity for institutional improvement. His true strength was to build bridges, not to destroy careers. Captain Silva arrived accompanied by 2 Corregidoria supervisors, his serious expressions indicating the severity of the situation. Maya greeted them professionally, while Santos and her team were profiled in a position of meaning, clearly nervous. Commander Rodriguez, said the captain, we received multiple calls about this occurrence. Drivers in the region triggered their dispatchers, who in turn contact our superiors. The situation gained unexpected proportions. Maya calmly explained the events, presenting the facts objectively and without dramatization. She mentioned the violations of procedure, but also highlighted the opportunity to turn the incident into institutional learning. Corregidoria supervisors documented everything meticulously. The testimonies of the truckers, the recordings of the cell phones, and the images of the security camera of the post. Roberto and other drivers confirmed the exemplary character of Maya and the disproportionality of the initial approach. Martinez demonstrated genuine willingness to learn, asking questions about correct procedures and recognizing their mistakes. Silva voluntarily handed over his cell phone with the recordings, showing sincere regret. But Santos remained defensive, trying to minimize his actions. Commander, said one of the supervisors, its covert operation identified not only smuggling routes, but also serious flaws in our own procedures. This is equally valuable. Maya nodded. True public security is built with mutual confidence between authorities and citizens. When we break this confidence, we facilitate the work of true criminals. The decisive moment approached. The captain would need to make decisions that would affect the careers of the 3 officers, while Maya should decide how to use his authority to create lasting positive changes, not just temporary punishments. The captain gathered all those involved in a circle, creating an environment of constructive dialogue. Commander Rodriguez, as a hierarchical superior in this situation, what is his recommendation to proceed? Maya looked at each of the three officers before answering. Captain, I believe in restorative justice. Santos will be suspended for 30 days and will necessarily participate in a human rights recycling course and ethical procedures. Martinez e Silva will receive formal warning, but will also become multipliers of a new protocol of respectful approaches. Santos finally broke his defensive silence. Commander, I recognize that I made serious mistakes. I allowed prejudice to influence my professional judgment. I accept the consequences and ask for an opportunity to redeem me. The turnaround came when Maya revealed something unexpected. Officers, you don't know, but this covert operation had a double goal. In addition to investigating smuggling, I was evaluating the quality of police approaches in the region. You were tested unknowingly. The silence was total. Martinez asked hesitantly, Commander, does that mean? It means that this situation, although real in its consequences, was part of a broader assessment of police behavior. Santos, his history was already being investigated due to previous complaints. Today only confirmed our suspicions. Roberto and the observing truckers were impressed by the revelation. The operation was even more complex than they imagined. Maya had turned a situation of abuse into a practical lesson on police ethics. The captain nodded. Commander, his methodology is brilliant. Creating real test situations reveals the true character of the officers better than any theoretical training. Maya went to the truckers. Gentlemen, you were also a fundamental part of this operation. Your solidarity reaction and willingness to serve as witnesses demonstrates that the community and police can work together for justice. Santos, visibly transformed by the experiment, asked, Commander, can I voluntarily participate in the development of this new protocol? I want to ensure that other officers do not make the same mistakes I made today. Maya smiled for the first time. This is exactly the attitude I expected, Santos. True transformation begins with recognition and willingness to change. Was this topic satisfactory? Would you like to make some adjustment, or can we proceed to the next? 3 months later, the Operation Mirror, as the action of Maya became known, became a national model of police behavioral evaluation. Martinez was promoted to police ethics instructor. Silva developed an application for allegations of abuse of authority, and Santos became one of the most respected speakers about personal transformation in the corporation. Maya resumed her regular functions as commander, but kept in touch with truckers in the region. Roberto created a communication network between drivers and authorities, significantly improving road safety. The protocol developed from the incident was implemented in 12 states, reducing complaints about abusive approaches by 60%. Martinez e Silva became references in respectful procedures, training hundreds of new police officers. Santos, after completing his suspension and recycling, discovered a new passion, working with vulnerable communities, using his experience to prevent other officers from making the same mistakes. He often said, Commander Maya didn't destroy my career, she saved me from destroying myself. History has spread through the social networks of truckers, becoming a symbol that positive changes are possible when authority is exercised wisely and compassion. Maya proved that true leadership means transforming conflicts into opportunities for collective growth. The post where it all happened installed a discreet plaque, where the mirror operation demonstrated that respect and justice are the foundations of true authority. Truckers from all over the country make a point of stopping there, remembering that each person deserves dignity, regardless of their appearance or profession. The transformation was complete. From a moment of humiliation was born a national movement of police ethical renewal. 2 years later, Maya was invited to speak at the National Academy of Police on transforming leadership. In the audience were Santos, Martinez, and Silva, now instructors respected in their respective areas. Roberto, representing the truckers category, was also present. He had become a national spokesman for professional drivers, defending respectful relationships between authorities and road workers. During his talk, Maya said, "The true strength of authority is not in intimidating, but in inspiring. It's not in punishing, but to transform." That day on the road taught me that each meeting is an opportunity to build bridges or build walls. Santos got up from the audience. "Commander, can I add something?" Maya nodded. "That was the worst and the best day of my career. Worse because it revealed my prejudices. Better because it gave me a chance to become the person who should always have been. The audience applauded standing. Maya concluded, "Real transformation happens when we recognize that all of us, authorities or citizens, we are constantly learning. Mutual respect is the foundation of a just society." The legacy of Operation Mirror continued to grow, playing lives across the country. If you have watched this far, comment, "I watched it to the end," and tell me what impressed you most in this story of transformation and justice. This real story shows us that positive changes are possible when leadership is exercised with wisdom and compassion. Share this video with those who need to see what respect and dignity should be universal. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell for more inspiring stories that show the power of human transformation. And now click on the video that appears on the screen to find out another amazing story of how a simple attitude can change lives forever.